Hey, this could be my third try at this, and I think I got it figured out this time. Trying to narrate an actual build video, uh, go through some of my theory crafting and whatnot. I'm still very early in this Captain America build, so I'll show you what I got. These are my base stats here. Yeah, I'm helped a lot by Rise of the East. Got 4 horsepower or health point rolls. Horsepower. Yeah, 4 health point rolls. I figure let's see what Cap does with that. Got really good rolls on my shield. Got, I mean, you can't get much better chest rolls than that. My head, I could honestly, for Cap, you really, really, really want, it's important to get defense pierce from your costume. I could have done, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the critical damage. I would need to build that anyway, but you're talking like that's, yeah, it's easier to build crit damage than defense pierce. That's one of my drawbacks. I have no defense pierce on my costume. So I have to make that up with all my green cores are all defense pierce here. I got some red for crit rate. My crit rate is also lower than I would like it to be. Um, I don't get to be as selective about my bonus stats on the badges because I need defense pierce. My yeah. So check check it out. I've got 73.9. I figure I'm going to get the rest from potentials and from not from potentials. Potentials on cap are garbage. I'm gonna get the rest from squad rank and or the spec tree. So I'm not too terribly worried about sitting at 73.9. My crit damage decrease is nice. See my crit rate. That's low. Um, Crit damage also pretty low. PvP damage decrease is livable. PvP damage bonus is decent. I will probably try to roll that around somewhere. Yeah, basically, I've been playing a while, and I've got some resources built up. I don't break down. I don't know why anyone. I don't see any reason to break down any red badges. This is part of my red badges, not all of them. Some are sitting on other characters or storage. I never, like I said, I never throw these away. I don't do a lot of the lower raids or lower blitzes, even to try to get completion. It just doesn't, it just, I don't see a lot of benefit to going for lower. Oh, while I'm in there, I save all my costumes that like all my regional costumes, save them. Because I don't know. I just always did. And they're talking about coming out with squads. And I think it'll be beneficial. Okay, so let me show the blitzes. All right, there are actually completion rewards for doing all the blitzes, obviously. What was that under? I forget where it even was now. Oh yeah, battle badges. All right, so obviously I got all the 105s. Like the 90s. Okay, if I complete the red set, I can get another 200 squad XP. Or, I'm sorry, 2000 squad XP. Same thing with the reds here. 2000, 1200. They all give squad XP. But here's my issue with it, and this is why I haven't completed it. Look at the drop off. Trying to get completion on the 90 versus even when I was doing the 105. You're talking about 200 squad XP per blitz that you get rewards for, that I would be losing out to try to get 2000 squad XP. Like just if you run 5 blitzes a day, like in 10 days, I lose more than I would gain by completing the badge sets. So yeah, I just run the best raid available, run it 5 to 10 times a day, depending on if I feel like buying the refreshes. Anyway, the okay, yeah, let's look at Cap's potential. I'm nowhere near done the potential, like at all. That's like less than half, I think. I'm not gonna take the time to do the math. Um, Now my thing is, I'm trying to build the attack skills first. Most cap people that I've talked to said you want to build defense first. You want to build, really you want to build his defense stat. You want to make him a tank, and I'm not saying that's wrong at all. I'm very new to cap. This is my 5th day or something on him. But yeah, I'm just trying to get crit damage. Accuracy is going to be the biggest thing for me to level up. I will benefit so much from that. Um, Accuracy, crit damage. I've already got. Oh, I missed it. Cooldown maxed. That does actually make a difference. After I get my accuracy, and you notice I did complete the defense uh, potentials before before I switched to cap as a main. But yeah, I'm gonna aim for the probably the defense percentage increases next, after accuracy and crit rate. That's gonna give me a nice boost, even though everyone in PvP runs 75% defense pierce. That's it's like it's kind of tough. You've got a character that's centered around the defense stat, but the game just gives everyone a way to bypass 75% of that stat. It's it's not I'm not a big fan of it, especially when they divide the attack number in half. I might do it in a later video. I think most people, at least everyone, high level PvP has seen the damage formula. For PvP, the damage output is reduced by half, like at the end. Once they've calculated all the damage. So yeah, I just I I I want to build them up, but it just feels bad investing in a stat that I only get 25% of my investment in. So I am going a little bit different way than most cap builds, and who knows, maybe I'll regret it. I've still got the badges. I've still got, like, I'm not throwing anything away. I'm chasing this path, and I'm gonna see where it leads, and kind of go from there. The other things I didn't point out, my cooldown decreased 30%. I think it caps at 50, if I remember right. So that's not a bad number, in my opinion. It's not great either. Crit rate 56.8. My dodge, I'm not really trying to build dodge with cap. That just kind of that's just stats that get there. Uh, guard damage decrease. My guard damage is low. My status effect accuracy is pretty low. Status effect resistance pretty low. I'm just at this point, I'm just trying to get the most heavily weighted stats are defense pierce, PvP damage decrease. Those two are musts. And then your crit rate, crit damage are huge, huge. I mean, you can increase your attack by, theoretically 300%. If you're facing enemies with maxed crit damage decrease, you're still increasing your attack by 200%. Most heroes, most people in this game don't run 100% crit damage decrease. So you're going anywhere from, 200 to 300%, somewhere in that ballpark. Like there's not really crit damage decrease helps, but there's not really a counter for crit damage. Uh, it's one of the best. Of course, crit rate goes along with it, but crit damage is one of the biggest increases to attack. I unfortunately can't do a lot with it. I can. It would actually, by the math, probably make sense for me to somehow, if I could somehow, instead of building PvP damage increase, which is just a, flat multiplier, if I could instead, put those rolls into crit damage, but I just, not, it's just not that easy. All right, I'll show you my cards. Your cards, I believe, is where this is between your cards and your costume. That's where Cap is. That's where he's made or broken. He doesn't have potential to help him out. He doesn't have, his bonus stats, his exclusive stats are not conducive to building defense pierce or crit damage. Yeah, I'll show his exclusive stats real quick. These can be found over at Transmute. So say I want to select that, come into the target list for Captain America, my exclusive stats. Now, obviously, I'm not going to roll this right now because I'm on Captain America, and that's also not really a card I'm trying to work on. But yeah, for Captain America, I can get PvP increase or decrease. I can get guard damage, crit damage decrease, or surface to air damage. Um, Surface to air damage is it's not something that I've ever chased. It's not something that anyone I know has really chased because it's situational. And especially for a hero like Cap, like I'm always on the ground. Okay? If I go into a duel, I can't choose to fight in the air. I'm always on the ground. And that stat can be avoided 100% of the time by whoever I'm fighting just staying on the ground. So it's a drawback to being a ground hero is anyone can go to the ground and fight you to completely avoid that stat. So I'm not. Hold on, turn my fan on. Yeah, it's just not a stat that I see as really beneficial, especially when I have deficiency in other areas. Um, Guard damage, I think Cap is very he works very well with a guard damage build, but I just don't see he ends up being like a Spider-Man where Spider-Man can get you in a cocoon and can beat on you, but unless that Spider-Man is built for some damage output, like I've seen myself where I'll get guard broke, I'll get cocooned, and they just can't do enough damage, and I come out of the cocoon and still win. Now, the top players aren't like that, but that's because they've got their damage built. I'm personally having a tough time getting Cap built up again because I have no defense pierce on my costume. That is hurting me a lot. So, to make up for that, I'm having to run a defense pierce card, which it just hurts. It hurts. Like especially I get better cards, but I need that defense pierce stat. This cooldown decrease again. I need I need that defense pierce stat. That's most of the reason why I'm running this card. That 7.8% defense pierce. Captain Marvel, I got defense pierce. This one, again, it's something that ranged attacks only, deal with certain champs, and I, I don't know. I think this may be bigger in the future when you can build more of it, but I just don't see. I really don't see a lot of difference from it, especially when as you see, this is a 5-star card. It's like I just threw this on there because it increases pertinent stats. I've actually got sitting over on my Captain Marvel a crit rate card, which is again not a special. It's just your see if I got a copy of it in here. Yeah, it's this whatever his name is, Soloff or whatever. Get some nice crit rate. I forget what my bonus stat on that was, but that's what I was originally aiming for this spot. I just kind of stumbled into this. I was gonna run not like I was still gonna max my decrease, but not my increase. I just happened to have this card on Captain America that put my stats up that I was looking for. Accuracy rate, I'm still having a run because again I only had two accuracy rolls on my gear, so I'm stuck having to run the card. Yeah, I've got look, I got all these other cards, but none of them have defense pierce rolls. Like I wish they did, but I need that defense pierce. I need the PvP decrease, which you can put on any card, but I gotta wait. I gotta put a heavier emphasis on like the defense pierce and stuff. This one I kind of rolled up to uh like to use it if I had to use it. I hated to level that when I had other stuff. But and then I ended up going with the other one because I really max damage rate is it's a good stat, but it's a not a fluff stat, but it's something it's not a high priority. It's not a high priority. You gotta get your other like crit and everything right first. I would love to get some of my big crit cards on there, maybe a Black Widow on there, but it is what it is. I don't have any defense pierce on any of these cards. It's funny, I have a lot of guard break cards, which isn't very useful to me because of my shield rolls. Yeah. Specialization, I'm still working on it. I am. This is where a lot of the theory crafting is taking place. This skill, Vanguard, is like the. This is what makes most cap builds. When it's maxed, you convert 30% of defense into attack. It doesn't take it away from your defense. It just adds 30% of your defense value as attack. Which on paper sounds really nice. But it's it at the level that I can currently get to. It's I'm just not going to see as much of a benefit from it. Referring back to the damage formula, which I might bring a picture of that up in a different video. You are looking at your attack is reduced by the amount of the opponent defense. At 75% defense pierce, you're only reduced by 25% of their defense level. So someone with 20,000 defense, which is fairly hefty in this game. Only really like the top guys, like top, like that's like a whale level stat, 20,000 defense. But if you have 75% defense pierce, that 20,000 defense only acts as 5,000 defense. So you get your attack minus 5,000 for the enemy defense, and you end up with, I mean, most heroes I'm seeing are easily between 20 to 30 or 25 to 30,000. So your base attack is anywhere, for an average player, anywhere between 20 to 25,000 base damage. Then that gets multiplied by your skill percentage. I'll show you for like this number. Your base damage gets multiplied by that number. Then you get your crit. You roll for crit. If you hit your, if you're maxed, you get a 75% chance to crit. If you crit, that damage gets multiplied by whatever your crit rate or crit damage percentage is. So that's where you see really big numbers. Then yeah, different. If you get like a flame damage, or that's why Star-Lord puts up big numbers. He gets that flame damage or damage type multipliers. You got your damage rate. Your even though your base damage might be, say 20,000, because I'm running 25,000 damage reduced by 5,000 damage. I'm running, say, 20,000 base damage on an attack. There is a range that attack's actually going to proc for. And I'm not an expert on that. I don't remember 100%, but it's like, I think it's like up to, it's either like 25% higher or lower, 15% higher or lower. I forget exactly. Max damage rate just brings that chance to be the higher number up. So if you've got, and I forget what that cap's at. I've never looked at that as a very essential stat, because that just makes your attack more likely to be on the high side. It's not multiplying your attack rate. It's just, and don't quote me on this number, but if it's if it's a 50% range that your attack can be like 50% higher or lower, you just get a chance. No, excuse me, it's not 50%. If it's a 25% range that it can be higher or lower, max damage rate is just rolling for a higher chance for it to be the 25% higher. It's not even a guaranteed thing, and you're only talking about like whatever that range is. So it's just not, it's not higher on the priority list. Your total damage is, I believe, after PvP damage, Well, I mean, they're both multipliers, so it doesn't matter necessarily which goes first. But total damage is a multiplier. At the end of the damage equation, it takes your damage after uh, crit and all that, multiplies it again by whatever your total damage rate is. That, as I understand, is not uh, it's not dependent on a roll like your crit rate is. That's 100% of the time your damage is increased by that amount. I had 20% total damage on Iron Man because it's so easy, and I saw a lot more damage because of that. If you're running PvP, you also get that 75% multiplier. That is a guarantee roll also. Now, that is usually offset by the 75% decrease, but it's really easy to build. It's really easy to build PvP increase, although technically you could bring your total damage up to 75% and do the exact same thing, but it would work in all game modes. So just some things to play around with. But yeah, back to the specs. Long story short, I'm just really not sold at my stats. I'm just really not sold on Vanguard. Like it just feels bad to build a stat that I'm only gonna get 25% of that defense stack that actually has any use in PvP, and only 30% of it is gonna go to attack. Which the 30% is a decent number, um, but yeah, attack is really your lowest priority attack skill. You've got all the you want to get your multipliers where they need to be, or as high as you can, because what do you think is worth more, adding 5,000 attack or adding 300 times multiplier? You want the multipliers first. um Again, there are like outlying, like, if you can get these numbers really huge, theoretically, if you've got a high enough attack stat, you technically wouldn't need, you could do more damage than someone with lower attack and 75% defense pierce, but you'd have to have a hugely more attack to be able to do that. So yeah, this spec I'm definitely working on. Increases damage dealt to bleeding targets by, this will top out at 30%. I have noticed a nice bump now that I got this up. This is the other must. Like, you have to take this. It decreases damage received by, that'll top out at 18%. That decreases all damage received by, like, you're reducing it by almost 20%. It's like kind of a big deal, especially when you're looking at 75% PvP damage reduction. I think this, again, don't quote me on this, I think this is based on, if it's based on the number before the PvP damage reduction, then it's really nice. if it's 20% of the damage after PvP damage reduction, I mean, it'd still be pretty nice. But yeah, this is what gives him a lot of his tankiness, even more than building up defense. Because again, defense you only get everyone in PvP has, anyone that knows what they're doing, any of the any of the big threats have 75% defense pierce. So, again, your damage reduction is going to do a lot more than just building defense. The other, yeah, so spot weakness I think is good. The other, bravery, I am very interested in this. Uh, get 30% increase from here, 30% increase from spot weakness. That's 60% increase. For vibranium release skills, you're doing at max whatever it is at max shield absorption, you're doing 30% increase. If you can manage to stack all three of those bonuses, you're gonna do plus 90% damage on that skill. So I'm very interested in that. So right now I'm almost for sure gonna do these three, but yeah, the this I really don't see this happening because I don't run a lot of hand to hand in combat. I don't run any hand to hand in combat right now currently because I don't have bravery yet. This increasing defense when using a core, that's only gonna help you in like Dark Zone PvE mission, which everyone's topped out. Uh, you know, blitzes, raids, but you really don't need it. Like once you get like I mean even right now at 1.5 mil, I just auto Mephisto and Mephisto Blitz and all the raids. This I'm actually intrigued by, and it's a little known. I think it's kind of a secret that I've only heard CM users talk about because they have a similar skill, but it's a very situational, and I may get into that down the road, but I don't think it's an immediate priority for me. Uh, yeah, this I kind of like this, but I'm really not. I really don't have a guard break build going on. This is mostly. I'm gonna say this is like PvP only, and even then, I don't see it as hugely beneficial unless you are running this skill also. If you're absorbing 30% of damage dealt to the enemy as HP, and then below 30%, you're increasing your HP recovery rate by 37%. Could that could that could be nice. Especially I've got a high health build. That's kind of my goal here. Um yeah, high health build. I could see that being off the chain later on once I get my HP potential specs, but you gotta make sacrifices somewhere. Am I gonna cut out? Will I cut out, do only one of these skills? I could see that potentially happening in the future. Max my damage potential to 60%, but then whichever one of these is going to give me a more surefire um whichever one of these is going to give me a more surefire damage increase. Yeah, maybe I can see that in the future. Like I said, you got to run this one. Like I'm going to run this one, and I really want to run this one because I'm 210k health. This one is kind of garbage, and this I'm really intrigued by since Rise of the East gives bonus to vibranium release skills, and this is like that vibration gauge from shield absorption class. Ooh, like if I'm getting double vibration gauge instead of 25% of the gauge on the skill use, I'll get 50%. 50% of the time, like that could add up. But yeah, that's also again kind of a down the road type thing. Anyway, that's about all I can think of. It's a really long video already. If you like the narration, I guess let me know. If my voice is just really annoying, because it is, then I guess let me know and I'll go back to, I'll go back to the game sounds. Anyway, I say that a lot too. Have fun. Peace.